Hi, I'm Joyce Sweeney from Sweeney Writing Coach, and we're going to try something new now. We're going to be giving you little gifts, basically, little samples of a quick little teaching thing that's for free, just to give you a sampler of what it's like and how I teach. And if you're interested, then you can investigate more. So the first thing I want to talk about is being in a critique group and taking critique and giving critique. I get a lot of questions from people about, this is what happened to me in this critique group, and it didn't feel right, and it messed me up, and it destroyed my book, and I did what they said, and now I hate my book. And I hear that there's a lot of rulemaking, which there needs to be. In any group dynamic, there has to be rulemaking. But some of the rules might be like really hamstringing you and causing you a problem. So let's just talk about some of the typical rules. One is no crosstalk. And that the reason for that is if you're defending, you're not hearing what anybody's saying, they're not feeling heard, and there's no point in giving critique. Now, I think that has to be a flexible rule, because sometimes everyone's saying, you know, your main character doesn't seem like an astronaut, and what you need to say is, no, he's a lawyer. So they've got something wrong, but then they're still talking and wasting your time. So you should be allowed to speak if somebody's completely wrong about something, to correct it so that the critique gets back on track. So I don't like the idea that you're gagged, you're silent, you can't speak at all. But you should be quiet. And here's why. The reason is because if you're anything like me, you don't understand any critique you get the first minute you get it. And that has been true since I was in college. It's true today with beta readers. The first time I look at what they've written, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Don't you understand what I was trying to do? You're a Philistine, you're crazy, whatever. And that's my reaction in life, too. If anybody gives me any kind of advice, I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to do that. But 24 hours later, after I'm all defended and protected from anyone changing me, I think, oh, I see how I would do that. I see what that would be. So sitting in a critique group where everyone is reading your writing, or you've just read out loud, you've just performed, you're so vulnerable. You're so concerned with, was that good? Do they like me? Do they think I belong here? Am I really a writer? Should I just go home and give up? That's all in your head. And so while you're receiving critique at that moment, you just want to bounce it. You just want to deflect it, like, stop. You're destroying my ego. You're making me not want to write. So you have to take it in. And so what you take it in with is the attitude, I'm just going to write this down. I learned that way back in college. I'm just going to write down what they said. Because later, when they're gone, and I'm just with myself, I can go back over it. And it takes a while. It takes me at least 24 hours, sometimes longer, sometimes days, before I really understand what somebody even was saying to me. And sometimes you never do. But you won't improve if you're reacting in the moment. Your reactions in the moment are always going to be negative. Or, if you're the opposite kind of person, whatever anybody says to you sounds better than what you thought. And that's just your basic insecurity. And it gets even worse if the person across the table or across the paper is an agent or an editor. Then it's like, oh my gosh, the agent said that. They said I have to change all my characters to monkeys. It's an agent. They must know what they're doing. And so I changed my whole book to monkeys, but I never wanted to write a book about monkeys, and now I'm lost. So you can't be so flexible that you're taking everything in. So again, it's exactly the same technique. You write it down, and you should look and act appreciative. Because I'll tell you, they can pick it up in a minute. If you're not receptive, you don't like them, you don't care for the way they delivered it, they pick it up in a second, and what do? They shut down on you. They stop critiquing you. And you want feedback. The reason you're there is to get the feedback. You get to filter it. So it's a two-part system. You get to filter it. So the main thing that you want to do with any kind of critique group, you want the atmosphere to always be open. I want to hear from you. I will carefully consider it. I respect you, even if you don't. There might be a member you don't respect that much. But even if you don't, you want to show that respect just because A, it's nice, and B, you never know when that person that you think doesn't know anything will have the key, the golden key, to fixing something really crucial in your book. So you take it in, you act appreciative, you act as if you want to hear as much as they want to give you, write it down so that you have it accurate in your mind for later, and then consider it at a different time when you're all calm and you can say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, this I would like to follow up with that person at a later date and ask them another question, etc. You can sort when it's cold. You can't when it's hot. So just always remember, once you start reacting in any kind of negative way, you have shut down the critique group, and you shut down the flow of information that you critically need to improve as a writer. So always, always take it in, filter it later. So again, I'm Joyce Sweeney. If you would like to find out more about, I have classes, I have webinars, I have all sorts of great services for writers, just come to www.sweeneywritingcoach.com. Thank you.